Hi everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. I'm Jo Michaels, the baking author, and today we're going to make focaccia. It's a 1-hour focaccia. I actually have something baking in the oven today, so our rise time is going to be a little longer. Usually it's an hour. The recipe, usually you would either put it into proof or you would set your oven to 220, then turn it off once it preheated, and then put your dough in there and let it rise that way. So this may take a little longer than an hour, just saying. So I have, if you own my cookbook, you know how to do this, some infused olive oil. It has rosemary and garlic and pepper flakes and some oregano and a little bit of salt, like coarse salt in there. So you're going to need some olive oil. You can use that or you can use this. That's going to give you a lot more flavor. So if you don't have the cookbook yet, link is in the description of the video. It's free. Go download it. Learn to make your infused olive oil. Your garlic infused olive oil. The garlic, after you poach it in the olive oil, man, you can use it for anything. You can throw it into dishes. You can throw it into salads because it's cooked, so you don't get that nasty raw garlic flavor in your mouth. All right, without further ado, let me go grab some salt and some yeast, and we will get to cooking our focaccia. So give me just a minute. I'll be right back. Okay guys, let's do this. Have my yeast, have my salt, have my warm water, sugar, all the things that make bread. So we're going to start by putting our 3/4 of a cup of warm water. It's just the hot water out of my tap. It's usually under 130 degrees, so I'm not really worried about killing our yeasties. We'll just add that to our bowl. Half a teaspoon of sugar. Half teaspoon. Bam. In there it goes. All right, now we're going to give that a little swirl around. Now we're going to add our yeasties. My best friend's pinging me. This is my half teaspoon. Throwing 3 in there. If I can avoid using that teaspoon right there, I'm gonna. Because I don't like dishes, as you all know about me. Now your mixer, you need to have a paddle attachment on. I know that's so weird. Because usually you'd be slamming your proteins all around with a paddle mixer, but this works really well for it. So there's our yeasties in our thing. We're going to add some flour, then we're going to add some salt, then we're going to add some more flour, and then our olive oil. This can be used to coat the pan, but this needs to be put in the dough and in this white pan here. I have this little pan for baking. It's about 1.5 inches deep, and it's probably 12 inches in circumference, or diameter, not circumference. 12 inches in diameter. All right, I gotta go pull that thing out of the oven I was telling you about. I'll be right back with you. Okay, I'm back. That wasn't quite done. I put it in for another 5 minutes. We'll see what happens. All right, so I'm gonna add my first cup of flour. Spooned and leveled. This is just all-purpose flour, not bread flour. You can use bread flour for this. You're just gonna have to kind of adjust as you go. Your focaccia is gonna be a little lighter if you use bread flour, so be aware. My yeasties are all in there, happy with their sugar. Ah, it's so nice. Okay, so we're gonna do 1 3/4 cups of flour, but right now I'm gonna mix the flour in with, just until it's moistened, in with some of that liquid. Then I'm gonna drop my salt and my olive oil in. Again, I'm using my infused olive oil. See, it's still a mess. So infused olive oil, we're gonna put 3 tablespoons. Oh, so pretty. 3. Also, I don't care if I get the rosemary in there because this is a savory focaccia. If you're making a sweet one, this is where you want to add some extra sugar. Make it yummy. Now I'm just going to mix that in just until it's kind of blended. I'm going to throw in my tablespoon of salt. That's 3 teaspoons for anybody counting. Or sorry, a teaspoon of salt. I think. Yeah, teaspoon of kosher salt. Okay, the olive oil is blended in. Now, We're just going to take about 3/4 of a cup of flour. I'm not going to be too particular about how many exactly that is. That's about 3/4 of a cup. I'm just going to sprinkle most of it in there. Knock it back down, turn it on low. I don't want to get too much flour in my dough, but I don't want to have too little either, so it's a fine balance. This is a really yummy bread. It is going to take just a little more. This paddle mixer mixes super fast too, so as soon as it starts to pull away from the sides of the bowl, it's ready to come out. It's going to be a little sticky. That's okay. Focaccia has a lot of olive oil in it, and it rises really beautifully. So this is kind of, sort of not sticking. I'm going to use my paddle. There's some dry flour stuck to my paddle here. And it's coming off pretty well. I'm just going to give it one more quick whiz around, and then I'm going to pull it right out of this bowl. I just didn't want the dry flour to get all mini. All right, quick. Done. See how fast that was? It's incredible, isn't it? All right, so I'm just going to put a little bit of flour here on my counter and a tablespoon of regular olive oil into my pan. I'm not going to waste my good olive oil, just greasing my pan up. This olive oil is so good, seriously. It flavors everything beautifully. A little bit of spice, a little bit of flavor. That garlic is just beautiful. Running through there, I love it. Okay, let me put the lid back on my salt before I spill it and I get unexpected guests. I also don't like throwing it over my left shoulder to thwart those guests. I'm just going to dump out my good olive oil. Take some of my plain olive oil and just put it in the pan. Now this is very important. You want to olive oil down your pan so your focaccia does not stick, and it will. It will stick like the dickens. If you feel like you need a little more than a tablespoon, put a little more than a tablespoon in there. Nobody's going to judge you. Just make sure you get it coated. All on the bottom and around the sides. So what I did was just add my tablespoon, and now I'm just turning my pan. Dish, whatever you want to call it. And I find that whenever you're, okay, shut up, yo. That's got to be done by now. Let me go grab it. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. So I find that whenever you put your focaccia in here and you're pressing it out, it kind of coats the sides. So don't get too anal about the sides having olive oil on them. Just make sure the bottom is totally coated. I'm after those tiny little spots that just seem like they were holding out on me. Get over there. I'm using Nicole's cookie shaker method. Okay, so bottom of my pan is covered in olive oil. It's actually pretty well in there. So now I'm going to scrape my focaccia out of my bowl and onto my counter. And I'm not going to knead it. So this is where it gets a little funky. Just a little flour on your counter, not a ton. And then once I scrape it out of here, I'm going to put a little more flour over top. This will come into a nice ball when you pop it out. Oh my God, I can smell the spices coming out of that olive oil. It smells so good. All right, you have kind of a sticky-ish ball of dough. It should not be super sticky, but we're going to dump a little more flour over the top of it and then just smash it out. There's no kneading it or any of that stuff. We're not doing any of that. So as you can see, well floured, please. And I'm not going to do anything but kind of bring it together. It's pretty nifty, right? Once you get it kind of in a circle, we're just going to flop it over into our pan, dish, whatever you want to call it. Looking like a wrinkly old man. So I just lay it right in the middle, just like that. And then just with my fingertips, just press it out to the edges. Like I said, that olive oil from the bottom is gonna ride up on the edge of that dough. Wish I had smell-o-vision. You guys would be like, holy crap, that smells amazing. Because it does. Now, as you can tell, I got the top of this pretty floury. So what I'm going to do is give it a shot of some baking spray, cover it with a damp towel, and just leave it sit right here. Because air, dryness are the enemy of rising. So once this kind of doubles in size, we will continue baking. It looks like that right now, nice and flat in the bottom of my pan. Spray it with some cooking spray, cover it with a damp towel, and you're good to go. So I will be back, then we'll like dimple the top and put some more olive oil. It'll be great. I'll be back then, and you guys stay golden. I guess. I'm going to clean this up. So I'll see y'all in just a little bit. Hey guys, I'm back. My focaccia is risen somewhat. Again, it's not super warm in my kitchen right now, so I'm going to preheat my oven to 425, and then we'll get to making it look like a focaccia. I'll be right back with you. Hang out. In the meantime, go grab some Parmesan cheese and garlic if you want it. I don't really suggest it for this because it will like blacken and char. It's not very a pleasant taste to my mouth. I mean, you may like that, but I don't like burnt garlic. So you can put some garlic on it, but again, I'm just gonna brush it with this nicely garlic infused olive oil. So get yourself one of these or a microplane, some of this. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. 400 degrees, not 425. My bad. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to lightly brush the top of this with some olive oil. I'm using my infused olive oil. I think it makes it great. It's got some great flavor. It negates the need for garlic. It's also got that beautiful red pepper flake in it and that rosemary. Yum! So you just like lightly brush or heavily brush, whatever you like, the top of your focaccia with this oil. And don't like press down too hard because you don't want to kill those bubbles you've been working so hard during the rise to get. You should be able to see some of that rosemary down in your bread too. Can you just say yum for me one more time? And just let it pool, man. If it pools, leave it alone. That ain't gonna hurt nothing. It will actually pool down in the little thumbprints we're about to make too. So just a light brushing of olive oil. Looks like that. Then you're gonna take your thumb or your finger. I have no fingernail on that finger, so it's probably better. And you're just going to press down into the dough all the way to the bottom. If your dough is bigger than mine, these indentations will be bigger. Mine is not quite doubled in size. It will look very impressive once it comes out of the oven though. You're going to look like a focaccia expert. And I'm just randomly poking in circles, kind of giving a nice little design to my focaccia. Like so. Holes. And it's wiggling around my pan. That's a good thing. That tells me I got enough olive oil on the bottom. It ain't gonna stick. Alright, and I like to just do this right over the bread. I don't know. You don't have to. I mean, you could do it in a bowl and then sprinkle it on. But I like to put the cheese on before I bake it. A lot of people are like, wait to put the cheese on until it comes out. No, I like to put the cheese on before I bake it. And just grate a little cheese over it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to taste good. Rarely is my stuff beautiful. It always, always tastes good. cheese up off the counter and put it back on top of the bread. Now, if you're gonna add the garlic, you can add the garlic now. Just mince it, throw it on top. It will turn black in the oven. You're going in at 400 degrees. This is probably going to rise up to meet the edge of this pan by the time it's done baking. So this is basic focaccia. If you want to add a little sweetness to it, like make a sweet focaccia, not a savory one, when you are mixing your dough, that's when you want to throw in any dried fruit or anything like that, and you can dust the top, like add some sugar to it. You can dust the top with some cinnamon sugar before you put it in the oven. It'll get that nice crispy brown. It'll be really yummy. It'll be really yummy. You can brush it with some butter. Yum. But olive oil usually works pretty well. It gives it that nice flavor. Apricots and rosemary would be yummy. Some oregano and figs. Yum. Go crazy. It's your kitchen, you do you. So I'm going to, as soon as my oven preheats, I'm going to pop this in for about 20 minutes. And then I will be back with you guys after that. We may top this with a little more olive oil. We may not. We may sprinkle some salt on it. I don't know. I may throw some more cheese on top. We'll see when it comes out. We're just kind of winging it today. All right, I will see you guys after the bake. Hey, 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 I'm back. Okay, so this is out of the oven. Doesn't that look pretty? And if you well oiled your bowl, plate, pan, whatever, this should pop right out. But first we're going to add some more olive oil to the top, just so it has that beautiful glossy finish. If you have your poached garlic, you can add it to the top also right now. We are also going to grate a little more cheese because cheese is life. I love Parmesan. Bring it on, y'all. You can also throw some sea salt on the top of this. We put a whole teaspoon of salt in it though, so should be okay. You should have a pretty good flavor. I'm gonna dip in all the way down into this to get those red pepper flakes, because oh man, I love them on this bread. They're so delicious. All right, just wiping it down with the olive oil while it's still in the pan so I don't get it all over my counter. And I'm just gonna cheese it. Just gonna cheese it just a little more. This makes great pizza. You throw some sauce and some toppings on here. It also makes really good sandwiches, surprisingly. Just cut it in half. Throw some sandwich stuff in there. Like, yum. Alrighty. So there's our focaccia. I'm going to dig it out of the pan. Actually, I should just be able to shake it. Like that. Right out onto my cooling tray. Ta-da! Focaccia! I know you guys are so excited to try this. It's crispy, it's delicious, it's full of air holes. You will not be sorry. Make sure you try it. Get the book. Learn how to do this to your olive oil, because that stuff costs a lot of money if you buy it pre-infused. But if you do it yourself, it's as much as your garlic and olive oil cost. Such a time saver. I put it in everything. Alright, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you tried this, let me know in the comments how you liked it. If you hated this video, that's okay. We can try again next week. Be sure and watch some of my other bread videos. The links will be popping up here in a minute. Make sure you subscribe, share, and tag me. I am at WriteJoMichaels, W-R-I-T-E, on all social media. I will pop over and give you a thanks and a huge thumbs up. And I appreciate you guys spending time with me today. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see y'all next week.